All right. Okay, so let's start reading. We were on the courage of the heart. So fear can obscure clarity and love. 1 second. All right. So fear can be obscure clarity and love and replace them with insecurity. This can be seen in relationships where one or both partners are insecure, constantly seeking reassurance through gifts, attention, or demands on each other's time. Relationships based on fear require constant attention and energy to maintain. In contrast, relationships rooted in love are characterized by willingness to give without expecting anything in return. Love enables two people to communicate volumes with just a look and allows them to support each other effortlessly. Similarly, the love you merged with in the third chakra gives you the reassurance and support you need to cultivate courage. So, this is very important. So, in third chakra, we did talk about fear, and the third chakra, we did talk about love. So, courage does not come from ego. Courage comes from the clarity that love gives. Ego makes you obstinate, while love gives you courage to be flexible and to make positive changes. So again, the courage needs to be understood from many dimensions. And you keep hearing this word clarity even in the Bandara message for April 30th message. Daji talks about love and clarity. And this, I mean, of course, the courage comes out of clarity. But in order, like again, last time I was talking about courage. Courage is something first comes from the hope. If you guys remember the example I gave you, the guy who did the experiment with a mouse, he puts it in a water container and it tries to escape the container, and after 20 minutes it gives up. On the next mouse, what he does is he knows that it can struggle for 20 minutes, so he pulls the mouse out from the beaker after 18 minutes, and then he does it twice, thrice, and the fourth time the mouse thinks that it can survive, and it survived for more than 2 or 3 days. In the first instance, it did not survive even 20 minutes. So this hope sort of, you know, and here what love is doing is love is always gives us that ultimate hope, faith, you call it. And so you don't mind giving up yourself in love. So in love, like how the mother looks at its child, whatever the child is doing, it understands. It's the child who is doing it. Mother tries to correct its child in with love in so many ways. So that love brings clarity, and that clarity gives the courage for us to move forward in life. It also gives the flexibility in our mind, in our psyche, to make any positive changes we want. So, like we discussed last week session, courage is not bravery. Courage is the clarity with love and hope. So, people generally think of courage as the ego's reaction when we demand equality of status, justice, or position, where we need to engage in uncomfortable discussion, become agitated, or face conflict. But in true form, courage is an offshoot of the mother tincture virtue, humility. The courage of humble people breaks through barrier. Where have you seen the tiny, tender, hairy roots of the tree break through the toughest rock? So these insignificant, almost invisible, powerless roots force the way for the mother root to dive deeper, to drive deeper into the soil and to make the tree stronger. So, in the same way, the most impenetrable ego barriers are broken down by the courage of a heart filled with humility. Even the humility, right? Humility comes with courage. Once I had this experience in my meditation about humility. Humility is like accepting the entity as is before you, whoever that is, whatever that entity is. Humility is accepting that entity as it is, without any prejudice, without any judgment. Then only humility happens. So, here the question of humility is not who is great or who is less, or if we are equal or unequal. That's not what the humility is. Humility is total acceptance of the entity before you. So, in such an acceptance, the courage is automatically there because there is no prejudice, there is no judgment over there. That means it comes with all clarity. When such a clarity happens, then we are not dealing with any situation or anything with the personal emotions or ego. So that's why when such courage comes in, it breaks all the barriers. When barriers are broken, it's total love. In total love, you are not holding anything for yourself. So you become more aware, more and more available. So I kind of keep going back to this mother and child example. So in mother's love, what is it doing? It is always available for the child. Let's say imagine the mother becomes very selfish, then it can never be available for its child. So love makes us available, love makes us courageous, love makes us, humble. All these things kind of, they're all interrelated with each other. That's why it is important to develop and work on this fourth point. So courage is innate to us, but it can be accelerated in the company of great souls. In epic Mahabharata, Lord Krishna displays his celestial form to prepare the warrior warrior Arjuna for battle, instilling him with courage. Similar story of young David's faith and courage is slaying Goliath and defeating Philistines demonstrate how courage can be given. There's a new TV series, David and Goliath, on Netflix. I recommend all of you to watch it. It's very, really, inspiring story. How courage can be given. Courage is a capacity given by nature as and when circumstances call for it. The transference of spiritual power from the source into our heart is also an example of courage being given. With courage, you can wage war on the tendencies that drag you down and rise higher. So it's a war on the tendencies which are dragging us down. Because when there is clarity, the tendencies also kind of yield to us. The problem is when there is no clarity, the tendencies take over and it overpowers us, our own tendencies. But as we develop this courage and clarity, in fact, the fifth point we are going to read is all about clarity. So, here, kind of the fourth point, the courage, is very much required to have that clarity. That's why the courage and clarity are spoken together. And this is the fear detox. Maybe we should practice this fear detox for 10 minutes and then get into meditation. I'll read out the instructions first and then I'll walk you through the instructions as you are doing this detox practice. And it is very, very, very efficient. I can tell you it myself from my own experience. So there is one fear which comes to my mind all the time. And whenever that comes to my mind, it kind of takes over and it drains all my energy. But when I came across this fear detox practice and then when I started doing it, even like when you're disturbed with all this, so many things are, happening around us. Sometimes we are afraid of our job situation. Sometimes we are afraid of our health situation. Sometimes we are afraid, about our relationships. So this fear detox really helps to let go those emotions and then bring clarity. So let me read out and then we can practice it for 10 minutes. We follow all the instructions and then we can get into meditation, right? So for the general fear of situations, places, events, and so on, you can use this guided limb cleaning technique. Focusing on the left side, imagine the divine current is flowing into you through the crown of your head. So from the top of your head, the currents are coming into your heart. So left side is your heart, right? So draw down, draw it down, draw the current down to your heart. Now let the current move towards your left shoulder, from the left shoulder, and then let it descend down to your arm, basically your arm, to your biceps, your elbow, over the wrist, through your hand, and let it flow out through the fingertips. So from your hand, it's kind of flowing down all the way to the fingertips and it is getting exhausted from there. While this flow is going on, think that heaviness, complexities, impurities, and fears going out of your system along with the flow. Continue this process for 2 or 3 minutes and gently taper the flow. Now, again, let the divine current be drawn from above your head to your heart. Let it continue down through the left lower torso to your left thigh, down to your left foot, and out through the toes on your left toes, left leg toes. While this flow is going on, visualize all complexities, impurities, and fears are leaving your system along with the flow. And continue this process for 2 or 3 minutes and repeat the same on the right side. So at the end of the detox, with confidence, affirm that you are completely cleaned of fears and complexities. The purity and simplicity are restored. If you feel that there is still fear, heaviness in your system, repeat the process one more time. So let's do this. I'll stop the recording.